Thanks so much for watching the Wine, Whiskey, and Wedding Planning Podcast, the podcast where we drink a little, talk a lot, and we help you plan your wedding. This week's episode is going to be a little different because we had some problems with the audio recording. We had our friends over, Nick and Claire. They just got done planning their wedding, and so we did have some usable audio and footage for you, and we didn't want to not release it, so we've basically I wanted to record this little intro to kind of tell you, what's up and why you're coming in on a conversation with zero context. But yeah, they're really good friends of ours. They're really great. They have a lot of good things to say about wedding planning, marriage, and we just liked it so much that we wanted to make sure that we still put it out. So without further ado, here is the Wine, Whiskey, and Wedding Planning Podcast with myself, my wife Courtney, and our friends Nick and Claire Terrio.
I feel like because we have been asking people questions so much. What have you learned so far being married? What are some of the takeaways, I guess, for you?
Is it?
You asked me this the other night.
This year?
2 years.
Yes, yeah,
2
on
years?
April 14th.
Next month. Yeah, next month 2 years, which is so weird.
That does not feel like 2 years.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know. It's funny because sometimes it feels shorter and sometimes it feels longer, and I really feel like it's because of COVID.
Oh,
yeah.
Why aren't we rich with 6 kids and 2 dogs?
Yeah,
I'm really
crazy.
confused. Yeah.
Yeah, what's happening? Yeah, I feel like COVID. It was very interesting because I think that a lot of married people, regardless of how long they've been married, learned a lot in COVID because there are people who've been married 15, 20 years, longer, who have never been just with each other so much. And if ever, it's it's been for so long. So it was very weird, and I feel like I hear a lot of people talk about how they, realized things that they struggled with, realized things that they were like, oh, I didn't know that you were like this during the day, or whatever.
I don't usually see this part.
Yeah. And so a lot of people, I think, it brought up a lot of really tough things, and I think that in some ways that can be good. But it was interesting being still newly married, and then all of a sudden being thrown together, because actually when we first got married, we had almost opposite schedules because we had part-time jobs.
It's like you were working 9 to 5 and I was doing music lessons in the evening.
I'd get home and you were leaving. Or even before I worked 9 to 5, I worked at David's and I was opening or closing the store, and so it was and you were at Carlton, so it's you would open at Carlton and I'd be here all morning, you'd come home, I would go close the store. So it was we almost were never together, and then I worked weekends because it was retail. And then it was, and then all of a sudden, you left Carlton, and then I started working from home because of COVID, and it was oh, wow.
Funny enough,
we have to learn a lot more about each other.
Fun fact, so when she says Carlton, she's talking about the retirement home that I worked at. Yeah, I worked at a retirement home, and I was there, my last day was the lockdown. Yeah, it was the first day of the COVID lockdown.
Wow.
And, the first Sacramento County COVID case happened at my retirement home.
Oh, really?
Oh,
it was so wild.
I worked at freaking ground zero, baby.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Dude, yeah, it was
That's
wild.
and then I started working at home before the rest of my office because of that. Because he worked there, and then our roommate was also working there, and I was so they might have been exposed, and they were you should go
You should stay home.
Yeah, it was weird, and it was funny because I was the only person there that had experienced a lockdown before, because at retirement homes, if they have an outbreak of the flu, they do everyone stay in your rooms. And then I was a waiter, so we were in charge of bringing all the food to the people's rooms. So I was there, and it was none of the other staff had ever been through a lockdown, because the turnover rate was pretty high.
Yeah.
And so I was so I'm the only one, and I wasn't even at that point I wasn't even a assistant manager or shift leader or anything. I was literally just a waiter, and I was all of a sudden I went from being I'm just here. I'm serving orange juice. It's my last day. To being you're in charge of everything.
Please tell us everything.
So, and I was all and I only worked till 11 that day, and I started at 7:30. So it was I had 3 hours to kind of get them going, and then I was
Okay,
goodbye.
See you forever.
Goodbye forever.
Have fun.
Crazy. Have fun dealing with that. And then
Godspeed, my friends.
It's crazy to think that they've probably all just been in full masks and gowns and everything since then. That's pretty wild.
You were with them for a long time, right?
I was.
Really
I was.
long
I
time.
started working there in 20.
You were working there when we started dating, and we have been dating for over 5 years.
Yeah, I want to say I started working there in 2014
Wow.
or
Yeah.
2013 maybe.
That is commitment.
Yeah, it was a long time. It was the manager, she was really I had the same manager for most of it, and she was really graceful with my hours.
Yeah.
Like during college, she was just like, she understood that was a priority, and so it's like if I had classes, she didn't like infringe on that at all. So that was really great, and I was all
That
like,
makes all the difference.
exactly,
really
and I was
does.
all like, so I'm just
Never had a reason to leave.
exactly. So I was like super part-time during college, and then afterwards, as I was trying to like figure out exactly where I was going before I got into videography and everything, and then getting into videography, at that point I
Again,
was
you had
kinda
that
like,
flexibility, so that was helpful.
yeah, but then at some point I was kind of like, well, I mean, I just am so tired after I come home. Even if I only work like 7:30 to 11, it's like it kills my productivity for the rest of the day, and I was like, I'd rather wake up in the morning to do the thing that I love.
Right.
So
When you're starting
Yeah.
something new like that, it starts as a full-time job with a little bit of something else, and then it turns into 2 full-time jobs. And you have to
Yeah.
you end up having to be like, okay, I have to drop one of these because this is
Yeah.
not a side thing anymore. But
Yeah.
but that's always nice when it gets to that point that you
Yeah,
can
for
be like,
sure.
okay, this is taking up all my time. It's time to do it.
Yeah.
It was really cool when that happened. Like just
Yeah.
making that
that
decision.
moment of like, this is it. I'm going full self-employed.
Yeah, it's a natural like transition to now's the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, kind of with that in mind, I just kind of started thinking about all of our first jobs. So that actually wasn't my first job. My first job was McDonald's.
Classic.
I
which is-
love that you worked at
I know, me
McDonald's.
too.
I'm a little jealous. I don't want to work at McDonald's,
Yeah.
but to say you worked at McDonald's.
It's like, yeah, you can. It's like saying, yeah, back in Nam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, hats off to you.
Yeah.
I salute you.
For Nick,
So-
it's Taco Bell. You would
Yeah,
love
I
to
would
work at
love
Taco
to
Bell.
work at Taco
Oh,
Bell.
no, he
oh,
hasn't. Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought you were saying you
That would
had.
be his working at McDonald's.
That's
if
true.
He could,
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah,
You
know how
kind of
they
you got
say, like,
close. You didn't go to McDonald's. You did go to Target though.
Target.
That was like
Yeah.
your.
My first job was working for my dad.
Cute.
And,
Okay, actually, no, same
Yeah.
here. That was it.
Oh, yeah?
We talked about it. We've
Oh,
made jokes about
yeah.
this before because both of our dads work in the air conditioning HVAC.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You
Isn't
did
that
too?
so
Yeah.
weird?
Weird.
So, but all their lives. I mean, I don't know about your
Yeah.
dad. I think
Yeah.
all of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah.
Since Nick was born.
Yeah.
Yeah, all their lives they worked in HVAC, and so I remember my Nick was like, "Yeah, I used to work for my dad." I was like, "Did you sort invoices?"
Yeah.
And he was,
Yeah.
I know. I always remember the joke you made of all like, "All right, this is invoice number H134. I hate my
Yeah,
life."
yeah.
I remember that forever because
Oh,
I was
man.
like, I didn't do it a bunch. I because my dad he worked he owned a business in Oakland, so he would commute from Sacramento
In Oakland.
in Oakland. Yeah, so he would commute.
Wait.
Oakland
You guys
to
were like-
Oklahoma.
Yeah, exactly. He
Well, I
loves
was
the
just thinking
Oaks.
they're like competitors almost.
Kind of.
When you
Kinda.
Yeah.
worked
I
in
bet.
At that time.
Concord.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet. But yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
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 Friendly
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Well, or not.
Or not,
yeah,
or not.
exactly. Yeah, come on.
No such thing.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, I would go with some because I was homeschooled, so I was able to like have the flexibility to go with him down to
Yeah.
the Bay, and yeah, so it was the same thing of like, all right, well, I'm gonna go run this business, and you can just sit here with your pieces of paper and write these down
Well,
for me.
there's
And I was like,
two
you
really
serious?
meaningful moments that happened while working for my dad. One was I really struggled staying awake, as you would. We
As
call-
you would.
Yeah,
Especially.
well,
as I would,
oh,
too.
Especially.
well, so
as
we,
anyone would with this job.
we called it the Yucky Shop.
Yeah.
Growing up.
I
And,
remember you telling me about this, and I know
yeah.
what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, go describe it.
It was actually, yeah, I was going to say it's a very nice building. I mean, it was a very nice building for an HVAC. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The funnest thing to do was he had an ice machine. And so
Oh,
we would
yeah.
like throw each other with ice.
There you go.
Throw ice at each other? But two big moments was I struggled staying awake. So I remember just feeling so dead every single day. And he loved this bagel place, Sunrise Bagels. And we went there, and I had like a drink, and I came home, I came to the office, started drinking the drink, and I never felt so alive. And it was like vitamin water.
Oh my god.
And I was like, why do I feel so good? And I guess it has caffeine in it.
Oh.
So that was
gotcha.
one, relatively speaking, that was very big. 'Cause I
Yeah.
was thinking, I can actually work here. And the
That's
second,
surprising though because you drink a lot of caffeine anyway. I feel like.
yeah, but because I probably wasn't expecting it, that my heart was
Oh, that
racing,
makes
and I was like,
sense.
I feel great. I feel
Yeah.
I could sort all the invoices. in
Yeah.
my
yeah, maybe not all.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But the second one was, how do I entertain myself? And I got into my favorite genre, post-rock, working at that spot. Because it was nice background music. And,
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like normal people listen to classical.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
your version of
Yeah, just
that.
invoice number
Yeah.
1377.
Yeah.
Labor
it's
hours.
Oh man.
That's amazing.
So actually, one more story, even if it doesn't.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so my sister went to that. Yeah. To be
Oh, boy.
continued. This is the second half. My sister went to the bagel place, and she ordered us all bagels. And they said, "What's your name?" And she said, "Kimberly."
Oh, that's where that came from?
Yeah, that's
Oh, no
Sunrise
way.
Bagels. And she came back to the office, and we looked at the bag, and it said the word Kermley. What?
We call her Kermley
We
to
still-
on her birthday
my
card
God.
this
Yeah,
last
this last
week. I
week.
wrote Kermley.
Kermley.
That is
Wow.
her
Yeah.
nickname to death.
Yeah.
I had never
funny.
heard that one.
Yeah,
I've heard around your
Kermley.
family a lot, and I never.
Kermley, the Kerm.
Yeah.
The Kerm.
I call her the Kerm.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Kerm is pretty good.
Yeah.
You ever call her Kermit? Like Kermit the Frog?
No.
No, not quite that
No,
far.
no,
No,
I'm stupid. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, that's like when I was
Kermley.
when
I
I was
didn't know that's where
younger.
it came from.
Yeah.
When I was younger, we had these boxes that like all. I would come from a family of 6 kids, so 4 sisters, 1 brother, and so we all had these boxes that had all of our Christmas ornaments in it, and so we all had to write our names on the boxes. Well, when I had to write my name, I was like 4 or something, and so it's like I started with the most gigantic C because I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be my magnum opus. This C is it is like the most incredible C ever because I knew that one, and then after that it just goes downhill.
Yeah.
So the C and then like the H is pretty good, and then my uppercase R straight up looks like an uppercase A.
Oh, okay.
And
that makes sense. Though.
yeah, just
It
like the
does.
loop was just so it looks like an uppercase A, and then from there it like gets smaller and smaller. It's like so it sounds like it looks like Christopher, and it's like but it actually looks like Christopher.
Is that
By
like,
the end
not
of it.
like your username?
Yes.
So one of my usernames is Christopher11 on Spotify.
Oh, really?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because
That's funny.
that's what my brother still calls me that. And then I call my brother's name is Matthew. I call him Mathnew, not because when I was young I said it like, oh, Mathnew.
Yeah.
It's because when we were in middle school, we knew this young kid who was another middle school homeschooler family kid that we just knew that hung out with us. We all know each other, and he called Matthew Mathnew, and then ever since then I call
It's
him that
stuck.
to this day.
I call him Matthew not because I did it.
Yeah, I know.
We saw this other stupid kid.
This idiot kid who couldn't speak. Learn to speak, idiot. Like,
Oh my
oh
gosh.
my gosh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
What was your first job, Claire?
I guess babysitting. But my first like official job I think was technically coaching gymnastics.
Oh, right.
And
I
that
forgot you did
lasted for
If
like maybe a month before I was coaching at the gym where I had just quit gymnastics, and I felt very uncomfortable being a coach alongside my coaches at that age because I was only like 15, 16. And so I was like, this is very weird and very uncomfortable. So I stopped doing that. So my first like actual lasting job was Starbucks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know you worked at Starbucks.
I did. That was my first lasting job. Well, before that, Target. And I got, that did not last very long either. I had applied to Target and Starbucks at the same time.
Oh.
And I got the
gotcha.
Target job first. But I really hated it. And I made the young teenager mistake of just, instead of quitting, just not showing up
It's genius.
anymore.
Oh no.
And so I believe not that I
love that.
know because I never talked to them again, but I believe I was fired from Target.
You could probably still be working there. You wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, not bad.
But they might have fired me. So Starbucks was my first
So funny.
official multiple year job.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think if you just stop showing up to a job, it's not that like they'd fire you at that point. They're
Yeah.
considering that you quit
Yeah.
without like any notice.
Who knows, maybe
Without
it's
ever
true.
talking.
Maybe your manager was optimistic and just thought you died or something. You know
Yeah,
what I
you
mean?
never know.
Yeah, honestly.
Well, because
yeah.
that's what it would be like when I was a manager at David's. It was like if somebody continually didn't show up, then
Yeah.
it's like I'm assuming you quit and I'm taking off
Right.
the schedule.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking
well,
of-
then maybe I'm in good standing with
Hey,
Target.
no,
Yeah.
and we don't do
Good.
letters of recommendation, so
Maybe
Oh,
they
that's
think
true.
I passed away.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
harm no foul.
Not anymore though.
Honestly, if you walk in with like khakis and a red T-shirt, you might find out that you're president. I mean, honestly.
I
Let's
could have
not
climbed
rule
up
it
the
out.
whole
Yeah.
ladder. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, honestly.
Like this Claire person never does anything wrong. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, she's worked here
It's
forever.
really amazing. Yeah.
Speaking of the two different jobs like that, so I was interviewing for my job at McDonald's, and I was interviewing for a job at Rayleigh's or Safeway or something, and I wanted that one way more. I did not want to work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And so I remember they called me and said, like, hey, we'd like to offer you the position, at McDonald's. And I was all like, okay, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Because I got some other
Okay, I
stuff.
guess.
I got some other irons in the fire. Little 17-year-old. And then I remember, like, I called Rayleigh's to be like, hey, so
Just calling
please, did I get the job? And they were like, so actually the person that was like hiring you, they ended up getting transferred or something. It was like the manager. And so it was like, I just felt my heart just drop, and I called McDonald's back and I was like, yeah, I'd like the job.
Oh.
McDonald's
That's almost
is
worse
so-
than like having no job lined up and just
I
like,
know.
okay, McDonald's.
Okay,
And
okay.
exactly. I was going to say, like, having to call McDonald's back and be like,
Yeah.
please. Like,
Yeah.
Yes, I
Good,
would
I'll
like to
take
work
it.
for you.
Yeah. I remember the manager was surprised because I was like, yeah, I'll call you back because I have to find out about another position. And she was all like, oh, okay. And I was all like, wow, I must have seemed desperate. Like when you talked to me, because I was 17 years old. I didn't even have a car. I was biking. to and
Right.
from
Oh,
work.
I remember that.
Biking covered in grease, biking home at midnight. That was the worst time of my
Cute.
life. I was in all kinds of, like, just, I didn't like a single thing about my life. I didn't like where I lived. I didn't
Imagine being like a criminal thinking, I'm going to get this guy. No, I really feel bad for him. He has worse than I do.
Oh no.
Oh, man. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we have talked about everything
I
from
didn't
the...
answer your question.
What
Not
question?
really. But
Oh,
it's because I
about
didn't have
marriage.
one. I had to talk to think about
I
it.
thought you cared, Chris.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I wanted to
what
make sure
about
you
your
got
wife?
That's weird.
Yeah, what about your
What about
wife?
my... wife.
Oh, wife.
I thought you cared about your marriage.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Isn't this about
It's so crazy
marriage?
how you know me.
Yeah.
It's so insane. It's insane. It's literally mind-boggling.
Yeah, I do care about my marriage, but I just, that's the one that I have
You
with
married
you.
the wrong person.
I know.
Oh, what were we talking about?
Oh.
What? Sometimes I just look at you and it's like we're in the room
I get
alone
lost.
together. All right, tell me,
So
actual
sweet.
wife,
So
about
sweet.
our actual marriage that we actually have. What
Our
did you
actual-
come up with something, or were you just reminding me that I had ignored you?
Yeah.
You never let me
You
answer.
never
Oh,
know.
sorry, go for it. I don't have
I
one.
don't know.
I just wanted you to feel. Do you feel bad? Excellent.
Yeah.
Mission
No, I
accomplished.
had to talk to think because I don't usually. I know I asked you that same question, but I don't normally have answers to questions I'm
Oh,
asking.
yeah.
I'm just
I mean,
curious.
I don't either, to be fair. So.
Yeah. No,
Go
just
ahead.
think about it. I think that I learned that we have learned how to handle conflict well, or how to not even get to the point where it's like big conflict.
Yeah.
Because I think that was something, and I really attribute that to the fact that we like were really intentional and took a lot of time in like our dating life before getting engaged or anything.
The pre-engagement counseling helped a lot.
That helped a lot because it was like,
That helped us too. We did
Yeah.
that.
yeah, I literally,
Everyone should get counseling.
if nothing else, if you take
Yeah.
nothing else from this podcast,
Yeah.
pre-engagement counseling,
Yeah, not
Yeah.
during your engagement. It's too much.
it's way too
Yeah.
much.
I would
and, like-
not have wanted to cram that in during.
Yeah, and it's like, and
That
like
makes sense,
honestly, it's like, and even if we didn't do both, but I would have done both just for the heck of
Yeah.
it. But it's like I just think that counseling is like such a great thing and so beneficial because it's like you really don't realize how nice it is to have an outside view and opinion to bring in things that you are just not seeing.
Yeah.
So, but pre-engagement counseling, it's great because it's like, it really sets you up to be just that much more confident and in sync in your engagement. And like you were saying, especially if it's a shorter engagement, because like we had a year, and a year is like for a pretty good amount of time if
Yeah,
you're going to do
true.
both. But if it's shorter, which is a lot more common these days, like 6 to 8 months, then you don't feel like, oh, I never did engagement counseling or anything if you've done it. Because it's a similar format no matter how
Yeah,
you do
true. I
it.
guess if you're wedding planning and just trying
It's
to like
so
survive, it's
much.
like trying to like get
It's a
counseling and all
lot.
of that. It's like so I think
Yeah.
that's where
No, that
it's
was a
valuable
huge
to
thing,
have
but it
it.
was like I think that like I've never been good at conflict. Like I'm a huge conflict avoider. I'm an Enneagram 9, and so it's like in our like dating time, I remember that you were like, no, we have to talk about things, and I was like, oh, what? You mean we can't just like forget about this and like sweep it under the rug? And you were really adamant, and so I think it was like I was pushed to learn about it, and then definitely like the bigger things where it was just too hard to talk about, and so we were both kind of more content to just like leave it as it was. In like pre-engagement counseling, a lot of those things were what we talked about, and we learned like, like it's like the marriage counseling 101 of just kind of like I feel this. I hear you saying, like, those
Right.
kind of things.
Yeah, the basics.
But it really is so helpful, and I think that we worked through a lot of things. So then, bringing that into marriage, I think that I learned that, like, all those things that we worked on, like, before getting married, were so helpful, because it's really, like, I don't think we have really had any big things, like, big fights or anything.
Yeah, not any huge blow-ups or anything.
In marriage. Like, it's really been, we've been able to learn how to navigate it right away.
Yeah.
And, like, just nip it in the bud.
Yeah, and, like, we have plenty of, like, conflict.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because, I mean, anybody does. But, I mean, we've never had, like, a really big... Because I know we had really big things beforehand that were consistent and, like...
Yeah, we had some pretty... Before we got... I don't know if it was before we got engaged, but definitely before we got married. We had a lot... I feel like we had a lot of bigger stuff that we had to work through. And it's been a lot better. I think the biggest thing for me has been learning that the small things that take less than 5 minutes are some of the most important things. So, like, one of my, big influences, and I talk about him all the time, is Jordan Peterson. And he has this chapter in his book called 12 Rules for Life, where he talks about...
Anecdote for chaos.
Is that part of the title?
Nick, you could have made me look like an idiot, but it's an antidote, not anecdote. Chaos. It's been nice having you. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, an antidote for chaos, and he has a chapter in there called "Do What Is Meaningful, Not What Is Expedient," and so a lot of that is kind of like there have been so many times. So our cat. He's adorable. He's cute. You've seen him
Where are
on
you going with this?
pretty much every episode on this podcast. I know, right? I'm all over the place. No, but our cat, he likes to...
We get distracted.
He's pretty good about using the litter box, but every once in a while, when he's feeling frisky, he likes to poop in the sink.
I think it's like when it's when
At least it's in the
Honestly,
sink.
Right,
honestly,
exactly.
if it's gonna be somewhere that's not the litter
At
box,
least he's not,
I
like-
will take it.
At least he's not like peeing on the couch. Like I've
Yeah.
heard stuff like that.
It's usually I realize it's usually like if he feels like the litter box is dirty, or I think that it's a lot of times
or if he's had a hard day at work.
If he's mad,
Same.
no, if
Oh,
he's
yeah.
mad at us, I've seen him. It's like we are upset with him, or like he gets in
To
a weird
spite
mood.
you?
He goes in there, and it's the first thing he
I'm just
does.
Oh, I've never noticed
Where's
that.
Jess?
I noticed
you look
it-
over and he's just staring at you.
It's like, I've heard this thing
You
where it's
made me
like,
do this.
where it's like, it's for dogs, but it's like, they say that a dog is man's best friend, but only your true enemies will look you dead in the eye while they poop on your carpet. It's like, come on. But yeah, no, but what I was going to say is that he poops in the sink, and sometimes I walk in there, and I've had so many times where I've been like, I'm just going to leave it. Courtney will find it, and she will be so grossed out that she can't help but clean it up. Right?
Yeah.
And
Of
I've
course.
had that thought so many times.
There's
but
I
I've
will
learned-
never leave it in there.
Yeah.
But I've learned that and just doing the dishes like not like a huge pile of dishes, but literally like I had cereal and I take the extra step to wash the bowl and put it in the dishwasher. It's like if I do those two things, my marriage will be 50% better. It's wild because those are so important to her.
Yeah.
Of just having clean sinks both respectively in the kitchen and in the
I
bathroom.
really like clean sinks.
I know, exactly. And so I've learned that it's important. It takes me like such a little investment of time, but for
Yeah.
some reason it feels so difficult.
Yeah.
But if I just work through that and actually make that happen, that is like, it just, I mean, it's like, she could like never know that the cat pooped in the sink, but I know that it took a load off of her.
Right.
And so, I know
Why
it's
did you use that word?
Oh,
I
load.
use any other
That's
word.
the worst
Yeah.
analogy.
I know that it just takes a big stinking load.
Ew.
No, but I know that it just
Heaping
takes.
pile.
It
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It takes something else off of her plate. Is that better?
Something else.
Yeah.
Or is that it's still not
Heaping
great?
load off her plate. Ew.
But yeah, I've learned that it's the little things. It really is the
Yeah.
little things.
No, that's true. I feel like it's it's also easy for us to say like, oh, I would take a bullet for this person. I would die for this person. But then it's
Yeah.
like, would you do the dishes for this person?
Yeah, I know.
Why is this on bullet?
I don't know. I'd rather take the bullet. You know,
Yeah.
it's funny how easily.
Because at least
we'll
then
be
I'm
like,
done.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
then it's over. But I feel like it's so easy for us to be like, yeah, I would do this and this and this. But then when it comes down to the little things, they are really hard.
Yeah.
But it does mean a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So that's the big thing I would say for any couples out there. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3.
3.
Whoa, I slapped you in the face. Sorry
Wow.
about that.
Thank you.
Do the little things because they're
Yeah.
important.
They
All
are.
right. Well, we have talked about
All the
everything under the
things.
sun. We didn't get to astrophysics, but we'll do that next week.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Science.
But this has been the Wine, Whiskey, Science, and Wedding Planning Podcast. And we've so enjoyed you guys listening to us. And
Thank you.
we will talk to you more next Thursday. All right.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.